On a frigid February night, in upstate New York 4 decades ago, James Krauseneck came home from work, and found his wife, Kathy Krauseneck, in bed with an axe blade embedded deep in her forehead. Grabbing the couple's 3-year-old daughter, James ran to get help from a neighbor, who told police he had a look of terror on his face and seemed unable to speak. At the time, James was a 30-year-old economist at Eastman Kodak, in nearby Rochester. For years, police in Brighton searched for whoever killed the 29-year-old mom as she slept with her young daughter nearby. Decades passed, and the case went cold. Now, 40 years after Kathy's brutal murder, her family has answers and justice. On Monday, a jury in Monroe County found her husband, now 70, guilty of second-degree murder. Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Dawley announced, "We did it," Kathy's sister, Annette Schlosser, exclaimed immediately after the verdict, Rock reports. "We did it. Justice for Kathy." Kathy's 95-year-old father, Robert Schlosser, was also grateful that justice had been served for his daughter. "I wanted to live long enough to see it," Schlosser said after the verdict, the Democrat and Chronicle reports. "My wife passed away 4 years ago. She didn't make it." Upon hearing this, Annette immediately added, "My mom and Kathy are here." On February 19, 1982, the day Kathy was murdered, Brighton police officers arrived at a well-kept, 2-story home on Del Rio Drive after James' neighbor, Eileen Marin Keating, dialed 911 pleading with police to please come to Del Rio Drive. "There's been, I think, a murder," work reports. Upon entering the house, investigators located the body of Kathleen Krauseneck, who was found deceased in her bed, the district attorney said in her statement. Reports show that Kathleen was killed from a strike in the head with an axe while she slept. Since 2015, Dawley and investigators from the Monroe County District Attorney's Office worked with the Brighton Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Monroe County Crime Lab, and renowned Forsnook pathologist Dr. Michael Barden to further review the case. Upon a thorough and detailed investigation, Dawley said in the statement, in November 2019, James was indicted by a grand jury on a second-degree murder charge. He pleaded not guilty and was free on bail. "I am proud to be a part of the team who found justice for Kathleen Krauseneck 40 years after James Krauseneck took an axe from his garage and used it to strike her head while she was asleep," Assistant District Attorney Patrick Gallagher said in a statement. "It has been one of the great pleasures of my career to get to know Kathy's family and to be able to help in securing justice for their loved one," he said. Today's conviction proves that the Monroe County District Attorney's Office and our law enforcement partners will never give up on securing justice for crime victims, Dawley said in the statement. Kathleen Krauseneck deserved her day in court, she said. After February 19, 1982, James Krauseneck moved away and went on with his life for 40 years. Kathleen did not have that privilege. "I am grateful that we were able to provide this closure for Kathleen and her family." His lawyers have said that prosecutors only had circumstantial evidence tying James to the murder and have grounds for an appeal, the Democrat and Chronicle reports. "We think the law's on our side and we're confident we're going to have a reversal," defense attorney Michael Wolford said. In 2019, James' attorney William Easton told People he felt the case against his client was weak. "It's emotional and it's gruesome, but you strip it down, that's why they didn't proceed for 40 years. It wasn't because of lack of trying." James' lawyers said they believed that Kathy was likely killed by Edward Larrabee, a convicted sex offender, who confessed before his 2014 death not only to killing Kathy but murdering music teacher Stephanie Kipkinski in 1991. However, authorities don't believe that he killed Kathy, convinced he was lying about his involvement. "We feel confident he was not a killer," William Gargan, chief of the Domestic Violence Bureau, in the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, said, at the time. Assistant District Attorney Gallagher agreed, saying, "There was no one else that could have done this crime," Gallagher said, Rock reports. In an email to People, James attorney Michael Wolford said, "We are confident that the conviction will be set aside by the appellate court on the grounds that the prosecution was not justified in waiting 37 years to bring this indictment. There was no new evidence, simply a new opinion by Dr. Barden." James is scheduled to be sentenced on November 7.